What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 69 of Unfiltered. I'm ChanManV, and joined today by Richard Lewis, Destiny, and our guest, Semmler. What's up, Semmler?
That was a really good intro.
Oh, I know you like it.
I gotta say, man.
I know you like it. Why do you think I picked you for this episode, man?
No, I appreciate it. That was good.
So how's everybody doing? Richard, you live or what?
I'm just sick, man. Like, Serbia, great place to visit. Wouldn't want to do an event there again. Not if it's run by the same people at eFrag. So, and then just to top it off right at the end of what is easily went straight into the top 3 of shit events I've worked.
Better than ESWC?
Oh,
God.
yeah, it was worse than the SWC.
All right, let's jump into it in a second. But Steven, how you doing?
Yeah, so
Steven, how you doing?
I'm doing fine.
All right. All right, so lots of stuff to talk about. Of course, we didn't have a show last week, so got a good amount of topics, but Richard's got to go actually shortly after the show again, so we'll try to fit as much as we can. If not, of course, we'll continue next week. But figured we'd start off with CSGO since we got Semmler on, and Richard just coming back from this great event in Serbia that he's about to talk about. So why don't we kick off with that, Richard? Continue on with your story.
Well, okay, so, I mean, right, I won't go into too much detail because the show I'm doing right after this is by the numbers. It is for CSGO, and Thorin's obviously going to be there, so
Yeah.
I'm going to get fucking triggered twice, so I'll talk about it in very broad terms. But, like, when eFrag sort of came forward to hire all of this talent, I was like, holy shit, man. I mean, they're really pushing the boat out to make a big splash for what is, national teams, right? Just mixed teams of the. It wasn't even the best players, with maybe the exception of France. But I was happy to go and do it, and see Scoots again, right, and shit like that. So they promised a bunch of stuff in the information pack, like we'll pick you up from the airport. Yeah, they didn't do that for everybody. I was late, and the first thing, like my flights have been delayed, and the first thing the guy said was, "Sorry, we weren't here early." And I was like, "I just got here, so you haven't fucked me over. Anyone before though, they all got fucked over." We were told we'd be instantly given SIM cards for like our phones, so we could like keep in touch with each other and get the internet, because obviously it can be a little bit patchy out in Serbia. That never happened. We get to the hotel. Hotel's fucking great. Beautiful women, right? Like nice food. We're like, okay, this is all right. Fuck the SIM cards, you know what I mean? But then the event just started, and it just went from there. Like fucking no internet. I mean, first of all, they built a desk that was taller than Sir Scoots. Like, so
didn't have to
all
be
you
that
could see
tall,
was
dude.
just like, yeah, but still though, dude. All you could see was just like this pair of fucking eyes, like over the top. So they had to build like a special back thing for the chairs to go on, so we could see over the desk. Or there was just sound issues. So the headsets, when we were doing the casting, they just had this like high pitched frequency in there, like constantly. Yeah, that couldn't do anything about that. Yeah, and then Scott, who obviously knows a thing or two about production, every time he'd fiddle with the box to get it like kind of fixed or dampened down, a technician would come up and be like, "Let me fix." He'd undo everything Scott did, and it would be back again. So we were just getting fucking wrecked constantly. Then we were up in the bleachers with the event. There's nowhere to sit between, between the games. Nowhere to go watch the games. There's no green room, and the light show was just configured to just beam fucking high spotlight things into the eyes of all of. And the thing is, you had to watch the screen, and so you had to look into the lights, and literally they were just sweeping like every 5 seconds, like the fucking Sentinels from X-Men. It's just fucking unreal. So we had to deal with that. No catering. Why would you need food? Why would you? No need, is there? So like, we even said like, oh, how do we get food? And they were like, well, you just ask for it. And I'm like, yeah, but surely catering for everybody, so we don't have to like leave the site, and if there's any delays or whatever. Nah, we haven't hired a caterer. Okay, good. 2 months before that, they were told people like to DDoS events. Don't know if you've heard about DDoSing, right? In 2015, get some DDoS protection. Nah, not gonna. Why would we? Not gonna do that. There's only like one fucking IP into the whole building. Why would we do that?
Wow. Okay.
Didn't even set up a VPN or anything. So we got absolutely fucking wrecked by DDoS, the best game of the tournament, France versus Germany, the two national teams that sent really good squads that had to be played offline to trick the DDoSers. So the spectators at home got denied the best game. And then I'm just trying to think. Oh, then, of course, on top of that, you've got the fact it's run by a guy called Avila who has just set this whole thing up as a vanity project. It's like he went through everyone in the industry he wanted to work with, and he just ticked it off one by one and said, right, I'm going to cast with these guys. So they flew DDK and James Bardolph out there, and Avila's like, yeah, I'm going to split you guys up, and we'll do one map each. So I cast with you, I cast with you. And everyone's like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, this guy's never been hired for any other event. And he's just decided, I'm going to fucking cast with these guys. So, I mean, I'm missing out, like, so much. I'm trying to get it all straight in my head, just how fucking bad it was. But, yeah, the whole DDoS thing was just fucking ridiculous. Like, every day we worked, it was like 14, 15 hours. Just sat there with lights in your eyes for 14, 15 hours.
That sounded like a lot of fun. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was fucking unreal. Like, absolutely unreal. Like, everyone just got fucked up. Like, I don't even mind saying this. It's the first time in all my years working I missed a call time. Because, like, I was sharing a room with Thorin. He just couldn't wake me up. I was so fucked up one night. I was like, great, this event's bollocks. I'm getting a plane home. I'm fucking done. So I just absolutely hammered at the bar. I was drinking some beer called Burka, right? Like, yeah, great. Right, okay. Definitely drinking a Serbian beer named after, a burka. Brilliant. Doing that. Got so fucking wrecked. Duncan said he was, like, shaking me.
So this is what? This is after day one? So this is between this...
Day two, I think.
Oh, my God. Okay.
So
besides the shitty hospitality, I guess, how was the event itself? I mean, was the whole nations versus nations thing even a success or something compelling?
It could be, right? Like,
yeah.
I think it could be, but you've got all the problems that, like, every national tournament's always going to degenerate into a fucking treehouse because it's like the players just pick. There isn't like a national association. It's not like some guy goes, okay, you've been playing well at the moment, I'm going to pick you for France. It's like,
no captains I'm happy. Or anything.
I will pick all the players I think I can win a tournament with. That's how it works. So, and some nations just don't even have the players. I mean, there was some pretty wild nations out there in terms of Counter-Strike. People I'd never seen play before, players I'd never met before.
Yeah.
Kyrgyzstan.
You know? Okay.
Kyrgyzstan. Where's Kyrgyzstan? I didn't even know. Tunisia sent a team. So, I mean, in that respect, it's kind of cool, right? But yeah. For the most part, like the sort of more established nations of Counter-Strike, it's always just going to be like some sort of fucking circle jerk, like who's friends with who to get a place, so...
Or just not play at all, Denmark, what's up? Yeah. National tournament? We'll go play at local LAN.
Well, I mean,
what's that? We can't bring our girlfriends.
They can't be on the stage behind us.
If it's a national tournament, I mean, is it just a matter of prize money? I mean, if somebody just came up with a giant, enormous prize money and just come up with captains for each team or something like that and figure it out that way. Would that be more conducive for it than, for at least making people care about it?
I think there's problems like as well with like team organizations. Like, why would you want players that are contracted to you to go and play an event that's got nothing to do with you? I mean, look, I'll be honest as well. Keep in mind it was on Hitbox, which creates problems, right? If you're an organization and you're partnered with Twitch, for example. But there was like some other little things behind the scenes, like Pronax when he was playing for Sweden. Fnatic were trying to insist that he wore a Fnatic top and not the Sweden top.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
That's what I was wondering about as well for like Envy and shit like that. It's like you've got these guys, they've got major sponsors that are basically paying money to make sure that these players are wearing, whenever they're on camera, their logo. And then Hitbox, granted, the idea is cool that they make their own jerseys for the whole thing with like the Hitbox logo and everything on it. I was like, okay, that's not going to cause problems. But I mean, the jerseys look cool, but the hell's going to go on if the teams show up, start saying, well, we're paying these guys salaries. Like, what the fuck is this about with your jersey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he the way the compromise was, he got a Fnatic logo, I think, instead of a Swedish flag.
Okay, that's pretty lame.
But I mean, this is the kind of pathetic pissing contest that's going to happen. Like, for me, it's got nothing to do with it, Wayne Rooney doesn't have AIC on his fucking beer gut when he's playing for England, right? So I don't get it, man. But yeah, so there's all sorts of problems and pissing contests that are going to happen, and especially this should have been a big deal for Hitbox, but unfortunately the kind of ineptitude surrounding the running of it's probably going to make them think twice.
Yeah.
About doing something like that again.
Well, I mean, let's see. I'll kind of let you guys obviously talk a little bit more about it in your next show about the numbers. But you guys were announced, right? You guys were announced for the next major. Actually, you and Semmler, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, dude?
Fucking NBC is already messaging me about this shit.
God. All right.
This was 2011.
All right. So you guys were announced for the majors. That's actually exciting, right? I mean, being obviously hired for that. But
I just wanted to do a DreamHack major. I don't think have I done one before.
You haven't done one before?
I can't even
really?
remember.
No, you haven't.
I don't know.
Because DreamHack Winter 2013, you weren't there. Scoots was hosting.
Oh,
Winter 2014,
right.
you weren't
right.
there. Scoots was hosting. So this is going to be your first time hosting, and Scoots is going to be interviewing. So
oh man,
yeah.
So, he knocked his ass to interview.
So the Scoots was right. He's been prophesizing for ages that I was going to take his job, and I have finally get that old man banged out into retirement. Like, you know what I mean? Motherfucker doesn't need the money. That's some younger.
That's true.
Have it.
That's true.
So, but yeah, so I'm looking forward to doing it. It was I've only done one major before, and it was with the ESL. That was in Cologne.
Mm-hmm.
And when NIP won it, so I was there for a little piece of history in that sense.
Well, that's cool. I mean, I don't know, Semmler, if you wanted to bring any of that stuff up, but there's been a little bit of talk, I guess, behind the scenes about the major. It's up to you.
That's right. Out of BC was pointing that out. You were doing the Twitch stream in 2014.
2000.
Yeah, Richard. He wasn't doing the major, but he was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you were the
mean,
interviewer, basically.
I'm psyched about the talent. Right?
I feel like we have to try and figure out a way to get Destiny involved in this conversation.
Well,
he just does not look amused at all.
Well, CS:GO isn't his thing.
Really
we've definitely got some. We're gonna go into some topics really soon here. It's just I kind of want to get the CS:GO segment out.
Well,
of the
look,
way
I mean,
here,
so some people have been saying that this is like the greatest assembly of talent ever in an esports event. And I love this. I love the way that talent, as we like to call ourselves, has become such a big fucking pissing contest. Like, okay, I'm convinced that the only reason that, like, say for example, like DreamHack, they want to hire all of these people that ESL won't, because it makes ESL, look like assholes to the community then. Yeah. I almost feel like we're in a fucking tug of war. Like, I saw Joe Miller tweet something like saying, yeah, that lineup's decent. Like, dude, come on, Joe. Come on. Like, decent. It is probably the best talent lineup that's ever been for a major. I don't know what you would necessarily change about it. But yeah, so
that's how it should be, right?
I mean, there's a couple there. You would, like, if you really wanted it to be perfect, I suppose there would be a couple slots that were like a couple more slots, say, for the analyst desk, so that you could have a true rotation going on for the analyst desk. Say YNK, who did a really good job at DreamHack Stockholm, bring YNK in, bring Vendetta in. Those are pretty much like the two names off the top of my head that are missing from this roster.
Shit. Someone in chat just fucking triggered me. There was
no.
There was a bunch of motherfuckers. This is where Destiny can get into the conversation. A bunch of motherfuckers message me going, yeah, pretty cool lineup for the major. Wish there was a woman in there though.
Yeah. That's the Swedish shit that's going on as well. Like the feminists, the Swedish feminists have, like, the first thing that goes up once this roster is announced is where's the girl? Why is there not a woman? Although I will give this to. Do you remember Ina Backstrom, Richard? Do you remember her from DreamHack events? She was kind of like the militant, feminist, not totally in your face, but it was there. And she actually made the counterpoint that should be made, right? Which is that there just aren't enough. It feels weird to say this as a guy, I guess, but there just aren't enough talented women to pick from to fill those roles on an analyst desk. It's not because we don't want to hire them.
You want to address the issue. It's a barrier of entry problem. And then we got one established female caster in the form of Pansy. She can't come and do a fucking DreamHack because ESL would never allow it, right? That's politics. That's holding it back right there. But here's
Wait,
the
why
thing.
not? I don't understand why not.
They're competitors, so they
Oh, okay.
ESL just
They-
is never
there's a-
really allowed. Yeah.
It's
Gotcha,
a long
okay.
war between the two.
So this is the problem, right? Like, if we had an abundance of like women casters, women analysts, if we had an abundance of like that established talent, right? Keep in mind, you have to be established because it's a major. You don't just
Right.
you don't just come in, right? Like, so that there's guys out there that are going, why didn't I get picked for it, right, or whatever. You can't just walk into a major. You got to pay your dues, right? Like, this is meant to be the premier arrangement of talent, right? By all accounts. So we got that problem. Like, you couldn't just throw one in. So that would suck. So I don't. If there was like a bunch of them and they weren't getting the jobs, then I'd be like, hey, is this a sexist issue, guys? But like, just this idea that we have to throw one in there to avoid the allegation. I fucking hate that shit. Like, tokenism is one of the worst fucking things you can do. It's so it's like just such backwards thinking. Like, oh, we're all for equality and empowerment and diversity. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna give somebody a job just to say we did it. Completely, like, it's so reductive of that individual. Like,
Yeah,
to
there's
do it that
a
way.
couple of things that have been brought up in chat as well, like regarding Apollo with the ESL and why he was allowed to work other other events like DreamHack, etc. He was just he negotiated that. He was big enough. Like that's the issue with.
Well, I think he negotiated.
starting out at ESL.
I think he negotiated even when he went into ESL that he would be able to do something. Yeah.
He was already established before going into ESL,
Yeah.
so he could go bring that onto the table and say, you know what, you guys don't touch DreamHack. I'm going to be able to continue working with them as I please. And ESL kind of just have to be like, well, you're super valuable to us anyways. So yeah, why? Okay, go, right? But like, it's not Pansy who can go ahead and do that either. It's just not big enough, right, to have that kind of clout.
So I want like some women players to step up to the plate and like start doing some casting, start doing some analysis. So by the time the next fucking major rolls around, we maybe at least have some contention. Like, I think.
Well, are there any lower? I mean, are there any smaller scale female casters right now that are casting small events and just not getting opportunities?
Swedish national television have one. That's Ipsa. She did Copenhagen Games this year as well, and she does really well in Swedish. Apparently, she's who is her co-commentator? Fuck. She co-commentates with a guy. He's done shit before. I'm forgetting his name. I'm sorry, but Ipsa has like a lot of experience. It's just that she doesn't have that experience in front of the camera per se. It's just like she's found her niche because it's in Swedish, right? She just knows stuff, and so she can play off of that because she knows the language and it's right onto national television. That's pretty sick for her. Like, the only people that I think that could really like want to do it for English would be like really experienced players like Miss Harvey or Potter or those types. Except that I think that they just want to play. I don't know what's
and
what's
let's
going
just
on.
keep in mind, Semmler, right? Because you were there when ESWC brought Miss Rage in, right?
And that's
to try
bullshit.
some casting
What happened
out.
to her? No.
Yeah, she
got
like,
over. You have to explain the situation the way it happened, Rich. Is that she was brought in to do interviews. She was brought in to do nothing but interviews, and she was supposed to just be this like a host, right? And so she's here with this role in mind, and she's prepared for this one role, which is okay. I'm gonna watch all the matches, find interesting questions, and just carry that 5 to 10 minute section where it's just like interact with the players, and there you go. She's not knowledgeable enough to get in there and cast. And ESWC actually pulled a fast one on her by saying, oh, we just need to test the mics or something like that. It was some bullshit like that where it's like, oh, just sit up there with Corey Dunn. We just need to test the mics real quick. It'll take 5 minutes and then you're free. And then they're like, oh, well, there's this match going on right now. Actually, we need you to cast it as well.
Oh, wow.
And she's just sitting there like, the fuck? I don't know. Apparently she told me she was feeling really sick as well at the time. So she's like, I'm not experienced for this. This isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm feeling really fucking ill. And they just threw her under the fucking bus. And then they didn't even really explain it either. So the community are ripping this poor girl to shreds. It could have been a girl, a guy, anybody, right? If you're not there for the role. But ESWC don't even come out and actually like claim that, oh, okay, this was on us. Please lay off this poor chick. They just let her roast. It's like a mind blowing experience.
Was it like was it a single match?
I was gonna make.
It was like a single best of 3.
Okay.
Yeah, where are like the fucking community white knights then? Like, right, while this girl's getting absolutely crucified, didn't see any posts defending her and saying this was ESWC's fault. It was up to people like you and me to make that point. So this is what I. So I mean, how is like a woman caster going to even grow in the space? Pansy still gets fucking shit on, and like I say, she's one of the hardest working casters I know. I've always said it. I think she's better than some of the guys that get props. So that's my
she's just
take
got the
on it.
momentum going against her right now.
Yeah.
She needs more space and more freedom, I think, than what she gets at ESL. That's my. I think you have there's probably like a weight on you basically when you're doing ESL, which is basically like this political idea of like we have to be super straight laced and just very this term professional and blah blah blah, right? This is the show, this is what you do, and we want to this, it has to be clean, right? And so I don't know if she's had like the freedom to be able to explore it a bit and fuck around like you can with like a DreamHack stream or like an ESWC or a Copenhagen Games, right? Things that would allow her to broaden herself and maybe show a different facet of herself to the community.
Well, do you think it's worth it for her to not work for ESL anymore, or like if her contract expires and just not renewing with them, or because ESL is a regular gig, right? I mean, that's great.
That's
she's
the key, isn't it?
Well, she's paid full time by ESL
Exactly.
to do other games like World of Tanks and stuff. I think that's what's paying her salary probably is doing like the World of Tanks content.
And
She's
the
doing
World
it
of
for all-
Tanks, the World of Tanks guys love her.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's like the queen of World of Tanks, though. Like
I didn't realize that. Okay.
She's the queen bee over there. Like she has everything. They love her. They adore her. The community adores her. So I mean, it's still like really cushy. Has that going for her, but I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, enough CS:GO talk. let's move on since Richie, you don't have that much time. Let's talk about League of Legends. Let's talk about League of Legends and World. Lots of little things going on there. And Steven, have you kept up at all with any of the league stuff? There's a lot of stuff. So
Yeah, I saw Dyrus doing his little AMA and his desire to continue in the future. I was kind of looking forward to. At one point in time, Dyrus had made like a comment that he was going to start roasting like every single fucking person when he left the scene, but he obviously decided not to do that because he wants to remain involved to some extent.
Yeah, that's generally
Kind of like what Richard was saying. I don't remember if this was on the show or during or before we went live. How nobody really retires from esports, So.
Yeah. So Dyrus obviously retiring. That was that was a pretty big moment, at least this week. And watching it, I have to say, and trying to recall any kind of I wouldn't say ceremony, but I mean just having the ability to have the crowd obviously give him a standing O, and then having an interview with Shox right after, which was really not. I think it was a good. Nice touch there, and as a viewer or even a Dyrus fan, I think it was pretty satisfying. Has there been any other League of Legends star that's been retired like that? It seems like people just announce they're retiring after they've had some terrible things happen, or they just kind of fell into irrelevance. But Dyrus, this is the first time I feel like it's been in a public event. I mean, huge, right? The Worlds, and having basically everybody get a chance to kind of send him off.
Whole thing was kind of like just orchestrated to be like this, though. So, like you announced well in advance, hey guys, Worlds is going to be my last thing. I'm going to be retiring after Worlds, definitely retiring after Worlds. Did I mention I'm in TSM, right? And everything TSM does gets blown the fuck up because obviously it's a big brand. Riot need to leverage that as much as TSM do. So, plus, like it's Dyrus. He was like
popular.
one of the big streaming personalities. Yeah, he's popular. And there we go. So I mean, there was always going to be like this really contrived. I think the thing that I always dislike most of all is like, okay, I love sports.
Yeah.
Been around sports all my life. Like sometimes when true greats retire from the game, you might get like a little bit post-match about like, yeah, that's going to be real sad. What a great sign-off for them, or what a sad note for them to end their career on. What I fucking hate about Americans is they just live perpetually in this like war film fantasy where it's like, it's been an honor serving with you, sir, and they all fucking salute them and shit. Like, grow the fuck up, you mawkish assholes. That fucking coverage that happened for Dyrus was some of the most embarrassing shit I've ever seen. First of all, you would have thought the motherfucker died, not just quit playing a game, which he never does anyway, because it's esports. No one ever quits, right? But yeah, okay, like, let's talk. They were talking about him like he was dead. Like, the fucking commentators are welling up as well. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, have I lost my mind? The coverage of his retirement was ridiculous.
Semmler, or Steven, your thoughts on it?
I mean, damn, I didn't.
I know. It's like
isn't
Richard.
Isn't it kind of standard that like people get wrapped up in like the sports shit and whatnot?
Right,
I don't know.
absolutely.
Dyrus has been a really, really long, probably one of the longest standing people in the league community. Probably one of the most universally loved people in the community. Even when like somebody that doesn't even follow the pro scene, which I'll admit, like it seemed like even when TSM was getting a lot of hate, Dyrus was always able to avoid that. Like it was never Dyrus's fault. It was because people were camping him top lane and his team wasn't helping. And like, I don't know. Dyrus has been like one of the longest running, like most loved people in the whole league community. So I guess it didn't seem like that crazy out of place to me as much as it seems like I guess Richard thought it was. But I don't know. The only other people I can think of that had like, again, as somebody that like I never really followed like the scenes as much, but it seems like the only other two people I can think of that had kind of like even a similar impact, I guess, would be like, I don't know, Chaox leaving was like a real big deal too. Like there was a lot going on there, and like Hotshot GG stepping back from playing was like a really big deal too. But those two people seem like they were pretty well loved too, but not even on Dyrus's level. Like I don't know, it just seems like Dyrus is like a universally loved person in the league community.
Similar. What do you think?
That's the impression that I got as well. I mean, Dyrus is like Hotshot GG, like these guys I only know in passing, but Dyrus he's been around for what, like 5 years since the beginning of competitive league.
I mean, he's part of the original lineup for TSM.
The only surviving original lineup member, right?
Yeah, I think so, right?
Yeah, he is.
Except for like Reggie behind the scenes.
I think the odd one still is part of TSM, but he's not playing.
Yeah. Once you're in TSM, you never fucking leave. They just They just beat you till you have Stockholm syndrome, and you end up staying there forever. So
I mean, I'll for $500,000 a year, whatever. I'll have Stockholm syndrome as much as you fucking want. Shit, dog. TSM is fucking paid, man. Holy shit.
I know, right? Exactly.
Yeah, they've got money.
So, Richard, what's wrong with
I didn't think it was over the top.
Yeah, what's wrong with like creating moments, right?
I don't know if maybe you guys are used to things that way, but it was massively over the top. And here's the problem with what happens now, because he ain't retired. I hate to break it to everyone that was like crying and like fucking their Dyrus waifu pillows, whatever the fuck. He's gonna be back in less than a year. He'll be back
playing or in a different capacity.
Yeah, like. Fucking okay. Here's what'll happen. It'll be like with Reggie. They'll get some new top laner in. Probably he's from Europe or something, and he'll play, and everyone will be like, "Wow, he's the best top laner ever." Dyrus was totally holding TSM back. Then he'll have like 4 bad games in a row, and everyone will be like, "Lol, this guy can't hold a candle to Dyrus." And then Dyrus is gonna be streaming every day, like, "Whatever, dude. Whatever." And then they're gonna bring him back in. And then everyone's going to be like, hey, it's the return of Dyrus. The whole thing is set up for a 2-for-1 marketing scam, right? And then they get to run a feature about the return of Dyrus again. And that's going to happen in less than a year.
So you guys can tell me if this has ever happened in your esports, but I can't think of a single time in like all of StarCraft 2 history where like a top tier player has retired and come back and been top tier again. That's never happened in StarCraft.
Yeah, I'm not saying top tier. He'll probably play for like a handful of games.
Stefano never retired and came back and performed anywhere near the level he used to be. No,
I mean, if you count like maybe Brood War to StarCraft 2, maybe there's a story there, but definitely not StarCraft 2.
Like within the same game, I don't.
Yeah, not within the same game. No.
Yeah, I seriously doubt Dyrus will come back to competitive play. I guess we can come back. This VOD will be archived, and you can come back if I'm wrong. Seriously.
1 year to the day, there can be a forfeit if I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure within the next 12 months, he'll end up playing a game like... Because he's making it quite clear, I'm going to be a substitute for TSM, and I'm going to stay streaming for TSM.
No.
Did he say so?
No, I don't... If he said substitute, I missed it. He said he was going to be support for TSM, like behind the scenes, like as a coach.
No. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to Google this shit now. I think it was in his AMA.
He said he's going to... I didn't see that either.
Dyrus, my last AMA, honest, God blimey, governor, I believe it was called.
I mean, top tier. I can't really think of anybody with top tier.
It won't be his last AMA either, guys. Like, definitely.
Richard, would you agree? Like, the only person that I can think of in the CS:GO scene, at least, is Dennis, the Swede. Part of the original LGB lineup.
He did retire to get a job, and he came back, and he's still a top.
Like a year later, and he's still like a godlike player. So I mean, maybe he's probably like the closest guy I can think of in CS at least.
Yeah, so there you go. People are confirming he did say he'll be a sub. So it's all set up. I mean, it's perfect. It's what this is what TSM do. This is what Riot do. What's that? TSM have to play CLG for a mostly meaningless game. Fuck it, let's get Imagine Dragons in. No problem. Like they just fucking ram that fucking TSM dick down your throat until you fucking choke on it. Like why not? Why not face fuck everyone? Why not?
God.
Why not? So,
Oh man.
But anyway,
Well,
when
when big players retire, I hope to see more of ceremonial things. I think it's good for sports and esports.
I see RPK's
Yeah,
name coming up in the chat, and I don't think RPK is like right now in this iteration of CS anywhere near what he was in Source. So
Yeah, and other people have brought up StarCraft names like Nanny1, Stefano, like who have come back and are nowhere near the reigning level that they used to be. Like not even close. Like yeah, they come back and they're still good, and then MKP has come back from StarCraft to like throw some matches for money. Like he hasn't done anywhere near how good as he was like 3 or 4 years ago. Or yeah.
I mean, I was gonna say
also
well,
like
about
again like real fast just to reiterate, like Dyrus is probably one of the I would say Dyrus is the most loved person in terms of numbers in all of esports and all the history of all time. Like if you think about it, the fact that League has the largest like esports fan base, and you think about the fact that Dyrus is the longest running like professional League player. Is he? Somebody correct me wrong. I'm pretty sure he's like the longest lasting like League professional player, like one of the original TSM members who has been playing and is like universally loved. Like I can't think of a single instance of drama that Dyrus has ever been involved in where he didn't come out looking good, right? Every confrontation with Reggie, every fuck up at Worlds, or every fuck up at WCS and shit, or LCS, sorry, where shit was going, where TSM was getting shit on. Like everybody always defended Dyrus, always through everything, always. Yep. So like it's, I mean, if you were ever gonna have a ceremony like this, like for me personally, I don't cry when people retire from shit because I just don't care that much. But like if you were ever going to have something like this, it would seem appropriate that it would happen with somebody like Dyrus.
And it might even just establish a precedent that if you are thinking about quitting, just having at least some lead time into it. Because look at StarCraft 2. Imagine if Greg, Idra, had let EG know that he was going to stop. It didn't happen just suddenly, kind of thing with him. But it was kind of pre-planned. I mean, we would have seen this. We would have seen this at an MLG or whatever, DreamHack or something where
something comparable, probably. Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
And that would have been awesome for all.
And Idra doesn't even have the same universal appeal that Dyrus did.
Sure.
Like if you followed it, like Dyrus is a really hard person to hate. Like the most you can hate on him for is what Richard Lewis already did for being monotonous. Like, hey guys, like, it's like his worst. Sure. Also, apparently, Dyrus replaced the Rain Man on TSM. He wasn't an original TSM member.
He wasn't, but he was.
Chad is getting really mad. But
sure.
Well, wasn't he pretty close to? Like, wasn't Rain Man replaced like really early on?
Was Rain Man part of the original? I mean, Dyrus is really close to like.
Yeah, he was.
I thought he subbed. He was the first sub, right? Or first replacement.
If he replaced the Rain Man, this happened back like early 2012, like late 2011.
Yeah.
So I mean, like it was quite a while ago.
So he's got a 4-year career then.
Yeah, which is incredibly long for League of Legends, right?
Esports, yeah.
But
so we'll see where he ends. Yeah, we'll see. Definitely. Well, what are you gonna say, Richard?
I was just gonna say, like, I think he, I just want to bring up about him sort of pussying out on the whole. I'm gonna roast everyone on the way out. So, I don't know what. Listen, I don't know what people were expecting with this, because like, you don't. No one in TSM is ever gonna burn TSM. You have to understand that the TSM League of Legends side at TSM, they all think that there's like one big conspiracy against them. Like, everyone
I think when he said that, that's like, let's be honest, okay? Between the four of us, right? Everybody has that fucking fantasy where it's like, all right, I'm retiring from fucking esports. It's time to shit on all of these motherfucking pieces of shit. Yeah. Everybody has that fucking, like, we've all fucking jerked it at night, like, thinking about, like, I'm gonna fucking roast these fake fucking pieces of shit, and it's gonna be the best feeling of my life, right? He probably made that comment like that, and then, of course, like, pretty much nobody ever actually does it, because if you did, one, like, not only are you roasting, like, on a professional level, like, a ton of relationships and shit, you're also, like, destroying friendships and quite possibly other people's careers and shit, like doing something like that. So like I understand him backing out of it. Like
I've gone full Farage on this motherfucker. Exactly. I don't mean I've committed sexual assault. What I mean is I've got like black box of like recorded calls and Skype logs and shit. And in the event of my death, that's just going out straight away.
It's your poison pill, dude. We've talked about this.
Absolutely. Like scorch the fucking earth with that shit. But no, anyway, so the point I was going to make was Dyrus wasn't even going to do anything juicy or rip anyone. You know what he was going to say? I guarantee you, he was just going to talk about how analysts are assholes and criticizing players is bad. And that's why
Dyrus happens every day.
I guarantee you that Dyrus knows enough.
I read his AMA from cover to fucking cover and then back again. And he alluded to it in his last AMA that that is what he wanted to do. But he realized it was a completely ridiculous and indefensible position. So he decided not to do it. Basically, it was about wrecking Monty. That's what it was about.
What?
Wow. Okay. Because there's still all that old beef there. And like they're convinced every episode of Summoning Insight is just Monty and Thorin saying, haha, TSM are assholes. But it's not like at all.
I mean, what does that have to...
that's what they believe.
I mean, he can do that anytime he wants. Like, why does he have to wait until he's leaving to do something like that?
I'm guessing because obviously you never have to play again and deal with that. Like, there'll be some community pushback on it. You know? Like, every time the players fucking do it, I don't even get it. Like, what is wrong with League of Legends players? Like, seriously, like... Their skin is just so thin. They're like delicate little peaches. They just bruise so easily. Like when Balls got told, you know, hey, you're only in Diamond 2 in career, and the players you're going to be playing against are going to, you know, are in much higher divisions. And that was the only point that Jap made was, what does that mean for Cloud9 going into Worlds?
Well, when you play
all the players came out.
When you play a game that bans you for saying like mean things to people in chat, I mean, that's kind of the community you foster, though, no? Like, I mean...
Well, yeah, I agree with you. As you reap, you shall sow, right? But the players should...
If he had made this comment about Balls doing bad on ladder, if he would have made this comment in a ranked game, would it have ended up in the tribunal? Like, huh.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't surprising at all that the league community has really soft skin. Or thin skin, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
All right, well, I just couldn't believe it. Like, Hai came out and wrote a blog about it saying, I fully support criticism, and I think it just has to be made in the right way. Same motherfucker who was flipping someone off for pointing out that, you know, or maybe your drafting's a little predictable, which is why you're getting wrecked in week 2. But with perfectly valid observation. So massive hypocrite, of course, they all are. But then, you know, like, he was saying criticism must be framed in the right way. And I don't think what Jat said was the right way. It was the most benign fucking observation anyone could have made. And it's not the first time it's happened. And trust me, I'm absolutely convinced that Dyrus's scorched earth on the way out it was literally to just say that I think Monty and Thorin are like bad people or something. And if you read his AMA...
No,
that's
so
what I mean.
scathing.
It was like the ultimate cock tease. He's cock teased he was going to drop bombs on the way out for months. And now it's this, like, actually, I'm not going to. And even if he was, it's like, yeah, Summoning Insight said some mean shit. Like, it's unbelievable.
Gosh. All right, well, another big point or topic in the League of Legends Worlds was, obviously the results have been kind of interesting. With the NA team starting really, really hot, and then now none of them actually qualified. But another big news was also that GTA sponsorships were banned from LCS, which happened, you know, a week ago. We didn't get a chance to talk about last week. Semmler, what do you think about this? What do you think about a dev, you know, basically banning a particular sponsorship? It's happened before, you know, with things that have been more clear, or sponsors that haven't really done anything else in esports or funded any other things in esports, and having them banned. But G2A, it's been a topic of conversation, obviously because of what their business is, but at the same time, they put a lot of money into esports and just streamers and channels and stuff like that. So what are your thoughts on this ban?
I think it's, well, basically, I'm surprised that it took this long for them to make the play, because we've known that G2A have been on all the top game publishers' hit list for a long time. Them and Kingwin. It's just nonstop. How do we fuck these fuckers back? Because look at what they're doing. They're ripping off our game. We're losing money because of these guys, and then they have the audacity to come in and sponsor our leagues. Like, you have to know that Riot, Blizzard, these guys are just looking for an opening to try and screw these people over. So I'm just personally surprised that it took that long for them to actually, you know, go ahead and pull their thumbs out and actually say, you know what, fuck you, G2A. We control the product. Nothing happens without us. Doesn't matter if you're going to be paying these teams money or anything like that. The one thing that I was wondering is actually, would is there some kind of way for the teams to actually challenge Riot on this and say, well, then you have to pay us damages. You have to cover us. If you're gonna remove one of our title sponsors from our team, that's X amount of money that we're going to be losing that isn't going to be able to go into player salary or, running this team. That's going to hurt you as well if you're wanting to run your league. So was there some kind of back and forth with Riot and the team owners when this was put through, where they were just like, okay, what is your agreement with G2A, and should we be, covering that for you for the duration of Worlds, or what? What happened there? I'm not at all surprised that Riot finally found a way to fuck G2A. It's just that, where do the teams stand in this? Because all of a sudden, if they're having to play WCS with or LCS with tape over their shoulders, right, covering up the Riot or the G2A logo, how's that going to impact the finances for the teams? And Richard, you're our king sleuth. So I mean, have you heard anything on the subject?
I've already been all over this shit. It's fucking brilliant. So okay, let's start with G2A. I mean, first of all, G2A. I'm maybe because I do some games stuff as well, and I've worked as a games journalist. I think I'm supposed to hate them. I think that's how you're supposed to feel about them. But I'm kind of ambivalent. I don't really have any strong feelings about them. They've done some unethical shit. They've done some illegal shit, actually. Or rather facilitated some illegal shit being done through their site, such as there was people posing as YouTubers and games reviewers. They would use emails that were really similar. They would contact those developers for keys. They would be given 50 keys for review or giveaway purposes, and then they would sell them on the G2A store. So that's gone on in the past. But it's what I call the gray market, right? It's not illegal what they're doing, but things like buying keys from a Humble bundle and then selling them.
Selling the charity shit? Oh,
yeah,
no.
yeah. It's pretty,
Wow.
So it ain't great. But, okay, since they came into esports in 2014, they've dumped 6 million, and I'm surprised it's that little. They dumped 6 million into our industry, so that's got to count for something if you're an esports aficionado. And remember, guys, I've talked about this. Oh, why can't we have ethical sponsors? And look, it's all right to have fucking Papa John's and Sapinda and everyone else, and everyone's like, hey, Richard, shut up. You're ruining this. I don't know why we're getting our knickers in a twist about G2A.com. The other thing is as well, just recently, they've been having financial problems, cash flow problems. Kingwin's already fallen for the most part.
Yeah.
And G2A are about 2 to 4 months behind in payments for some organizations. And some of these sponsorship deals, like the Cloud9 one, this is a sizable six-figure deal. And they're not paying out at the moment. So timing, coincidental. The Riot thing, I did a video about this today, and basically my feelings are this, that I absolutely support Riot in the sense that you be careful, guys. I know I said that. Right?
What happened to Richard bashing Riot, dude? That's part of our weekly thing, dude.
Well, don't worry. We'll turn it around.
He's bringing it back. He's bringing it back. He's bringing it back.
Yeah. It's just this is the misdirection. Right? Okay. So anyway, no. The thing is, you can't have a company that offers elo boosting, account selling, things that are fundamentally against your terms of service as a sponsor. That would be ridiculous. It will be patently absurd to do that. And they're well within their right to say, sorry, you cannot use our platform to advertise your brand. Where Riot are being less genuine publicly is that recently behind the scenes, they've had this massive talk where they're going to completely they're looking to move to a franchise system, okay? And what I mean by that is they want to own the spots and basically lease them out to owners. And they want investors and millionaires and legit people to own the spots, and anyone that they don't consider legit or acceptable, one of these undesirables, as they call them internally, they're going to do forced buyouts. They're just going to buy out the spot. Now, they've been in talk with a massive sponsor to come in, pay them a bunch of money so they can increase the stipend for the LCS teams, because it's only $12,500 per player per 3 months, or rather per competitive split. So it looks to me like what they're doing is they're looking to sort of put some pressure on the big sponsors that are giving almost like a form of financial independence to the organizations that play in their league, as a way to make them more dependent on this brand new increased stipend. And the final point that's worth mentioning is when G2A put out their ridiculous press release, which was meant to convince us all to join the G2A tribe and burn Riot to the ground. They called us e-sporters. Hilarious. They said that we actually said we'll remove the account boosting and account selling pages. But then Riot said, yeah, now we want this, and now we want this, and now we want this, and made a bunch of other demands. And that says to, and I believe that, because that's classic Riot. You show any weakness, you cooperate with them in any way, they just leverage it and fuck you into the ground until they're in control. That's just how they deal with it. They're like a very subtle, abusive husband. Starts with the odd comment, and then they upgrade to just full backhanders, right? And that's how Riot play their game. So it's two scummy companies, I guess, going head to head. Riot seem to have the upper hand right now. I think next year we're not even going to talk about G2A within an esports context. But what Riot basically doing is they're obfuscating their real reasons for making this play, in my opinion.
Okay, well, it's definitely been caused a lot of talk, at least amongst the community, as to like, you know, will other devs be doing the same thing? And even BC brought up something in Twitch yesterday that I thought was kind of interesting, which could Twitch actually kind of step in and do something here in terms of G2A and even channel owners and that sort of thing, which would be really hard to police, honestly. But I don't know. What do you think about Twitch actually doing something here, like a broadcasting platform? Steven?
I mean, for Twitch, you're talking about like Twitch like banning G2A as a
yeah,
sponsor,
because, you know, obviously
essentially?
gaming, right? And they have a really close relationship with devs, and obviously, you know, broadcasting on Twitch is a huge part of gaming right now. That could, you know, that could actually make a huge hit on G2A also. What do
I
you
don't
think
know.
of
Like
that?
personally, I really don't like G2A, but I would be really uncomfortable if Twitch started policing sponsorships. Like I mean, like if it was something like blatantly fucking horribly fucking illegal, like was like involved in like child prostitution
Yeah.
shit, like maybe I would feel differently. But otherwise, I don't. Yeah, I'm not too comfortable. I wouldn't be comfortable with Twitch like policing sponsorships. I don't think.
Sets a precedent that could be a little nervous.
Yeah, that would be like. What if you had like, say you had a scenario pop up with something like Uplay or Origin, like people didn't like the way that the program was working, and people started to accuse them of like forming botnets or having Bitcoin miners or whatever, but it was kind of unsubstantiated. And then Twitch started to do something where like Twitch banned, you know, Origin games or something, and you have people like Uplay or whatever like paying Twitch for sponsorships or for advertising space on that. Like I feel like all of that would get like really fucking weird, you know, like in a really bad way.
I just don't think that Twitch wanted to take anything on.